Good evening. Thank you all for gathering here today in the Hondo. It's wonderful to see all of you here. And today is it's much more of an informal talk. It's going to be me just sharing a story about an experience that myself and my family shared. I was talking to some of us before we started today's session, especially in our temple community, in our Sangha community. We have a tendency, right, to not talk about our own personal struggles and the things that we're going through. And we don't even talk about what's going on and what we fear and what really ails us. We kind of keep it to ourselves. And a part of the reason I think we do that is, number one, I think it's because we don't want to burden other people, sometimes, or we don't want that reaction. Like if I say, oh man, I have this serious thing happen to me, and then I put you in the uncomfortable position, I'm so sorry. You don't know what to do. So that's one of the reasons why I think we kind of hesitate to share. And another reason I think we hesitate to share is because we know that whatever problem we have, we know that even the people in this room are dealing with things that are probably much more severe and dire. But the point of today's message is, it's not about comparing. And even the other person feels that when you're sharing what you're going through with them, they're not comparing. They're not looking at you going like, well, yeah, I hear that, but my problem's way worse. They're not doing that to you, right? They're listening to you. They're hearing you. They're feeling you. They're feeling that compassion. So, I want to encourage us to not think that way, to not worry about, I don't want to share my problem because it's too small and they're going through something way more severe and way more serious. That's okay. That doesn't lessen your problems, right? It doesn't make your problems any less valid, and it doesn't change the fact that your emotions are still coming from a similar place, right? Situations may be completely different, but what you are feeling, what you're experiencing can still be very, very similar. And it's important to share because other people will realize that they're not alone. So that's what I want to leave you with today as well. So our story begins, this was last year, I remember it was the end of October because it was just the day before Halloween. And my wife, Janet, she woke up, that morning. Halloween was on a Friday, right? She woke up Thursday. She wasn't feeling good. She felt really nauseous, didn't have much of an appetite. We didn't think anything of it, right? So Friday came, she didn't pass out candy with me and stuff, and it's something she really enjoys. So I knew she was not feeling good, right? Because she wasn't able to do that. And I said, okay, we'll just see how the weekend goes. Kind of perked up over the weekend, but come Monday, Tuesday, she was not good. And she was not eating well and stuff like that at all. So we said, okay, this is a problem. Let's go ahead and make an appointment, right? So we made an appointment at Kaiser on the following Thursday. And so Thursday morning arrived, and I went to wake her up, right, and to get her ready. And she popped up. She popped up, and she looked at me, and I was like, "Hey, Janet, you ready? You ready to go? You want to start getting ready?" And she goes, "Okay." And I went, "Okay. So, you want to jump in the shower, before we go?" And she went, "Okay." And I go, "Okay. Are you not feeling good? Do you want me to postpone? And she went, "Okay." And so now I'm getting weirded out, right? I'm like, okay, something's messed up here. And then I went, in my wonderful, compassionate husband self, okay, I went, hey, quit screwing around, man. And I went, pull it together right now. I looked at her, I said, pull it together right now. What's my name? And then she said, okay. And dude, I freaked out, man. So thankfully, I called 911 immediately. I just called 911 because we're upstairs, and I'm just like, no, I ain't trying to, you know what I mean? I called 911 immediately. And of course, the operator stays on the phone with you. They're very good about that. They stay on the phone. Is she responsive? And I go, she is not coherent. There is no cognitive connection right here between us. So these dudes rolled in, our quiet little court filled up with sirens and fire engine and ambulance. They all came, and all the neighbors are looking through their windows and stuff, So, these four big old dudes rolled up, and they asked her questions, and they loaded her up. And they took her to the hospital. This is probably about 9:30 in the morning. And I'm all like, do I follow you? And they're like, no, let us check her in, and then you can come after. So that gave me time to, get my stuff together. Because I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be there. So, got some stuff together and showed up about 30 minutes later. And obviously she's in the ER portion of the hospital, right? We're in there. And I didn't realize how bad it was, like, in the house. I guess I didn't realize, but she was super jaundiced. Like, she was almost yellow. She was super pale, right? And her eyes were glossed over. I didn't realize it was that bad. And obviously, they always give you the saline, right, when you get there. You know, that's one of the first things they do. And typically speaking, in our past experiences anyway, that saline brings you back a little bit, right? Because especially she's been not eating for like a week and dehydrated. So usually that brings you back. But this time it really kind of didn't do much. I mean, it did a little bit. And she's still nauseous at the time and all this other stuff. So obviously blood tests, blood checks, and all kinds of stuff. So after that first blood test, they came back and they were super concerned. And it had to do at the time with a super low platelet count, right? Now, platelets are those particles in your blood that help with blood clotting, right? I didn't know anything about this at the time. Didn't know anything about it. So they were doing blood tests and CT scan, but I just knew she's in bad shape. But I was very happy to be in the hospital. And it's hard being in the ER, right? Everybody here has experienced that at one point or another, or many, many points, right? Many times. The ER is a rough place, right? It's loud, people running around, you're not in a private thing, people are screaming over there. I mean, it was rough. So, as we're going back and forth, you know, hours pass, right, before people come back, right? They're like, I'll be right back, and then you don't see them for like a long time. And you understand, because it's kind of chaos down there. Like, you understand, everybody's going crazy. Finally, they came back, and then you're meeting different people, hematologists, nephrologists. I don't even know what these things are, right? But they're coming in because they're just all checking the results randomly, whoever's on the floor at the time. One of them came in and says, you know, we're not sure what this is yet. We have to send the blood work out to an outside lab to formally get results. One of the doctors came up and said, it's presenting like TTP, right? And, you know, for the non-doctors here, what the heck is TTP, right? Like, what is that? I don't know what that is. So I'm Googling it, right? And it comes up, thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura, right? Say that 5 times fast, okay? It is an extremely serious blood disorder that can be very fatal if not treated immediately. So when I saw that, I freaked out. But more importantly, it says TTP presents itself between 2 to 6 people out of 1 million. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna win the lotto, let me win the lotto, man, not this. I mean, so I'm sitting here going, oh my God, it's the rarest, it's rare. It's super rare, right? It's super rare. So that doesn't sit well. So that makes you really nervous. And then when I found out that her platelet count when we got admitted was down in like the 12,000s, your platelet count should be anywhere above 150,000. Right? So we are hitting dangerously low. Once you start getting below 10,000, you are at risk for, you know, spontaneous bleed outs and things like that, and you could just go right then and there. So that didn't make me feel too good. I'm freaking out a little bit, okay? But again, these tests are coming back and forth, and they're not certain that's what it is, right? This is just, they say it's presenting that way. So nothing's definitive at this point yet. Nothing's for sure yet. So I don't know what's going on. So as time went on, I finally realized, I got there at 9:30 a.m., right? So by about 8:30 p.m., they had our room ready, which is actually pretty great, right? So we went up to our room, and we got situated, and I think that's when everything started to come together and they realized what it was, and they're going to treat for TTP, right? Even before we get the lab results back, it doesn't matter. Platelets are plummeting. She's doing direct blood infusions, and it's not going up, so that's super bad news. I found it interesting that they ask you permission before you do a blood transfusion, right? They say, are you okay with this? And I'm thinking, who wouldn't be okay if you don't get it? But there are reasons, right? There are many reasons. So it was very eye-opening to me, this medical process that we have. I didn't realize that patients do have the final say, right? You have to make the decision, which is why it's so helpful to have somebody advocating for you when you are in that situation, when you're in the hospital. So fortunately, I was able to be there with her. As some of you know, I work for the BCA, and I work in Berkeley sometimes at the Jodo Shinshu Center. So I kept thinking to myself, what if this was on the weekend. I'll go for like a weekend or a week sometimes. And what if I wasn't there that day? I keep thinking about that. What if I wasn't there that day? And that's a frightening thought. So again, I'm grateful that I was there, and I'm grateful that I was able to be there and learn about all this stuff. So here we are, now we're in day 2. As I'm researching TTP, I'm learning all about what it is. Why are your platelet counts low? Well, what happens is there is a specific enzyme called Adams TS13 that exists in your body, right? And what happens is the enzymes are malfunctioning, for lack of a better term, and it's an abnormality. And the Adams TS13 is the one that is supposed to break up the blood clots. So he's like the bouncer, break it up, right? What's happening is these platelets are forming the blood vessels are kind of bursting, and all the platelets are going towards them. And since Adams is nowhere to be seen because somebody attacked Adams incorrectly, Adams TS13 is not there, so all these platelets are going to these various blood vessels, and they're forming these huge, long chains of clots called von Willebrand. Okay, I don't know why. That's just what it is. Okay, so what's happening is it's sucking all the platelets out of your blood. And a clot that's not supposed to be there because Adams isn't there to break it up. So that's what's happening. After learning that, the treatment plan is we're going to blast you with high-dose steroids because it has to suppress the immune system, because that's what's attacking Adam. I'm going to call him Adam now, okay? That's what's attacking Adam. Adam's getting attacked. He's not there. Actually, Adam was not there at all. So we have to suppress the immune system. So they're blasting you with, steroids, right? Steroids. So she's getting like 1,000 milligrams IV. Anybody know about steroids? That's a lot of steroids. Yes, you see, that's a lot. That's a lot. So she's getting that direct IV just to suppress that. And then what they're telling me is the main treatment plan is something that's called plasmapheresis. Luckily, I was able to at least figure what it was to Google it, you know? Anyway, so that's how I learned about all this stuff, and I really learned about it. And so, one question you may ask, I'm sure all of you are thinking that, who's wondering how she got this, how it happened? Oh, everybody, right? Isn't that interesting? When I tell people the story, when I write in the blog and people read it, the first question, how did this happen? How did she get this? It's a blood infection, right? It's caused by potential viral infection could have triggered it. It's caused from pregnancy, whatever. The point is they don't know is the answer. There is no definitive direct causal point that they can point their finger back to and figure out. And this is where my Buddhism kicks in. Because what did I tell you earlier about what Buddhism was? Buddhism isn't focusing on telling you the why. What does life mean? Why do we have to suffer? Why was I born? Why do I have to die? It's not here to talk about the why. It's here to tell you what is. And so that really kicked in for me. I ain't got time to worry about the why this happened or how this happened. Of course, it's important so we don't make it happen again. But besides that, that's got nothing to do with why we're here now. We are here now. We are in the hospital now. And we got to deal with this now. And you can go to the next one too, I think. But the other thing is, I didn't focus on the why at all. I just focused on the what I got to do now, how I'm going to deal with this. So that actually was helpful in a way because it sharpened my focus. And this is what I'm talking about. And I am not a psychological professional in any way, shape, or form. We have some in the room right now, so don't judge me too hard. But when it comes to facing this kind of trauma, people will deal with trauma in so many different ways, won't they? Some of you shut down. Some of you rise to the occasion. Some of you crush it into a ball and act like nothing's wrong, and you can just function. And it runs the full spectrum of how we respond. We're all different. We're all human. Fortunately, or unfortunately, whatever it was, I was able to just highly function and be highly analytical and be highly data-driven. Give me all the information and all the data you can so I can make the best decision moving forward. So part of the treatment plan, again, is, as I mentioned, it's called plasmapheresis. and it's plasma exchange. So it's similar to dialysis in the sense that they gotta get you in, and they're gonna take all your blood out, and it runs through a centrifuge. So they separate the blood from the plasma to get the bad plasma out that's attacking Adam, right? And we're gonna replace it with fresh donor plasma. It's called FFP, fresh frozen plasma. And they're gonna infuse that back with your blood and get it back inside of you. It's pretty amazing. It's amazing. But the problem is, since it's such a big process, this isn't just a simple vein access right here. We got to go through one of the main arteries, right? That goes directly to your heart. Now, you can see the problem here if you're following the story. If we have low platelet counts and our blood can't clot, and I'm doing a major kind of, surgical procedure that's coming into a main artery and that's right next to the carotid artery. And this is the surgeon telling me this, right? So I had this surgeon explaining to me what the procedure was. And she kept saying to me, and I don't know what it was about her, man. Everybody was great at Kaiser, okay? You hear different stories about Kaiser, but everybody was great. But this particular, don't put this on the internet, but just this particular one, man, this is just between us. I don't know what it was about her demeanor or whatever it was. She was like, yeah, we're going to do the surgery, and as long as if we nick the carotid, she could bleed out. And if we do this, if the clot doesn't go well, there's a possibility to bleed out. We just want to tell you. And I'm all like, bro, can you soften it like a little bit, dude? I'm hearing you. I need the truth. Don't sugarcoat it. I need the truth. But dang, dude. How about I stand behind you, and if you nick the carotid, I nick you. That'll incentivize you to have steady hands. So it was rough, right? It's rough being helpless, right? It's rough being helpless. And that's another thing that I'm really going to talk about. So at this time, this is already day 2, right? That we have to get this thing in. So to be honest with you, this was the most dangerous and harrowing part for me in this story. At the time, Janet was extremely weak. She hasn't eaten in a week. She's still not keeping down foods, and she's in and out. So she doesn't fully realize the extent of the situation, which is good. I might have a plasmapheresis photo somewhere just to show you. Let's go to the next one. I have a black slide in between. Oh, this is the plasmapheresis machine. And you can go one more, Sandy. Even little Janet needed 3 liters of plasma, 3 liters. And when you think about the people that were involved, when people donate plasma, people that donate blood are already heroes as it is, okay? You're already a hero. But when you donate plasma, that's a step beyond, because you can't just donate it. You got to sit there awake. You got to pump a ball, and they have to centrifuge your blood to get the plasma out. And then they put your blood back in so you can recover faster. So these plasma people that do this, they're in there for 3.5, 4 hours to donate 1 unit of plasma. And we're using like 7, 8, 9 per exchange. It's overwhelming, isn't it? It's overwhelming when you think about the liquid life that all these strangers who I've never met and I probably never will meet that gave their life for someone else to survive. And it is the ultimate teaching of interconnectedness and interdependence. And it is humbling. It is humbling, it is moving, and I am just in awe, seriously in awe. And there's Jose. Little did I know he was going to become my best bud. I didn't know this at the time because we thought, we're going to just do, X amount of sessions, and we cleaned out, oil change, transmission fluid flush, and we're good to go, right? Good to go. Well, that's what we were hoping for. So Jose was a gift to me. The other thing was this process takes 3.5, 4 hours as well. While he is there, he never leaves the room. So that's wonderful because, when you're in the hospital, doctors come, doctors go, and you're kind of just waiting around. And Janet was nauseous, so I have the, the vomit bag. And anytime she shuffled, I jump up, right, to make sure she didn't, get it on herself. So I was just so on edge. I didn't realize how on edge I was just 24/7. But when Jose was there, and the machine makes this little click, 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 click noise. When Jose was there, I was out. Jose said I was snoring like a grizzly, dude. He's like, oh, I got a good sleep, huh? You know, 'cause so I didn't realize what comfort this other human being gave me. And that's when I say, Jose is my best friend. Like, I mean it, man. This guy, I trusted my wife's life in his hands, and he gave me this feeling of trust and true embracing. And I'm using these terms because coming to all these church services and listening to all these words, Amida's embrace, hearing the call, falling into other power. I know these words. I know what they mean. I even teach them to my young kids. But I didn't understand what it meant until now, what it means to fall in something else's embrace, to completely give up yourself and to be in the comfort of something else. And that is ideally what Amida is. And in this case, Jose was my Amida, right? He really, really was. And again, that was the only time I could really rest throughout the day. We would do this once a day. And, so finally that catheter surgery, by this time, Ellie had joined me from UC Davis. She came and she was with me. And my daughter, Ellie. And I've always made a commitment. Ellie's 21. She's an adult, right? But I've always made a commitment to her that I'm going to tell you how it is. You know, that was kind of a personal decision I made, that I was going to tell her how it is. And I hope this doesn't get released later and kids aren't watching it. But I remember this story. She was about 9 years old. And she came up to me and she goes, Dad, is Santa real? So yeah, don't play this. But, and I just looked at her, and this was part of my commitment. I knew in that moment, I said, nah, man, this is how we're going to establish my relationship with her from this day on. And I just told her, I go, what do you think? And she goes, I don't know. And I go, I think you do know, because you wouldn't have asked me the question unless you already knew the answer. And then a little tear came down her. It was so sad. It was so sad. It was so sad. But I told her, although Santa may not be real in the sense that we are saying he's in a sleigh and he flies around the world, he is real in the sense that he is a feeling. And now that you know this truth, it is your job to keep this real for all the other children. So anyway, I don't know why I told that story, but that was my commitment to her. That's our relationship. I just told. So I had to tell her what the situation was. And I go, dude, we're in a bad way right here. This is a 50-50 situation, And so she sat with me, and the procedure took about an hour and a half, and we're in the waiting room. She seemed super calm on the outside, but we were together, and I was really glad that she was there. And your mind does crazy things, right, when you're facing trauma. I don't know, my mind, and you can't help what you think. So don't feel bad for what you think. Your brain goes to dark places. It just, whatever. I mean, I'm thinking, again, because I'm analytical, I go, what is our life insurance policy benefit? You know what I mean? You start thinking stuff like that and you feel guilty. But that shows you that you are in reality, right? You're not in denial. And in our tradition, we don't have petitionary prayer. You can't pray to Buddha to make this surgical procedure go well. There is nowhere you can ask or pray to or make promises to or negotiate. And I didn't do any of that. And that's just not where my mind even went. I just knew there was one outcome or another outcome. Whatever happens will happen. No matter what, something will happen. And we will know in a matter of time. So let us wait patiently and let it unfold. And that was the hardest thing for me to do. And that, to me, is really what that teaching of other power means. When it's power beyond the self is unable, is incapable of contributing or doing anything, no matter how smart you are, no matter how accomplished you are, no matter how innovative you are. In that moment, when you're outside of that room, you are helpless and you are at the, I don't want to use the word mercy, but you're at the mercy of another power. And you have to learn to let yourself go to that. And that's a difficult thing for us to do, right? Anyway, 90 minutes goes by and it went well. It went well. Hugest relief. And as Steve mentioned, I took it upon myself to make this Google Doc. And I was writing down everything that happened. And this is something I actually advise you to do if you are in the situation. Not only for yourself, but so you can remember everything that's happening. Because everything happens in such a blur and it's so quick, and you can write down terms and words. You should even write down which doctor visited you. You know, Dr. Bautista, nephrologist, Dr. Naik, hematologist, whatever. And it helps you to keep order of what happened, and it helps you keep records of what's going on. And it helps let people know that care about you what's going on, because they don't want to bother you, but they're so worried. You know, I have neighbors across the street, you know, we look after each other's dogs, we're really close, and he sees the fire engines coming, you know, so I got to text Steve, I go, yo, dog, this is happening, it's crazy. But he was able to read this blog and keep going. So anyway, so we get in there and we did the plasmapheresis, and we're supposed to do this daily. And at the next morning, they're coming in, you know, at 5 in the morning, they're taking blood from everybody. And I don't know if there's, anyway, I basically set up shop in the room. So if you went in the room, you saw my full bed. I had a cot there. I had blankets. I had a sleeping bag. You know, we're scouts. We're Boy Scouts, so we have all that gear. And I made home. Like, nurses were coming in going, oh, did Kaiser provide that bed? I'm like, nah, man, it's my bed. So, you know, that's how settled in I looked, okay? I was settled in. And so that next morning when they came in, they did the blood check, and platelet count went up to 47,000. Oh yeah, see, the relief, I was like, oh my God. And I'm typing this in, and again, she's on this 1,000 milligrams of steroids, she's doing this plasmapheresis, and we got all this other stuff going on. And so I said, you know what, we're doing good. They took an afternoon blood test, platelet count went up to 51,000, slowly but surely going in the right direction. And then we did it again, right, that night. Next day, 81,000. So I'm getting super, super happy at this point. I'm like, I don't care how long it takes, but if it's going in the right direction, that's all that matters to me, the right direction. And this whole time with my blog, people are all worried about us. And finally on this, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th day, whatever it was, Janet was finally able to stand up. I'm helping her, right? But she's able to at least walk around the hallway once. So we went to the restroom, we went around the hallway. And then when I came back out of the hallway, I opened the room door, and there's this ice chest on the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, someone delivered an organ to our room. Excuse me, did somebody see who came in here? And I'm like, oh my God. I ran over there. I was scared to open it, right? I was scared. But I opened it, and what did I see? Otto's Bentos. There's like a chicken teriyaki, salmon teriyaki, da-da-da. No note. Who does that? Well, it turns out that my good buddy Stuart is like just reading my blog every day, and he was just at a loss emotionally. And he just ran in the room, didn't say a word to anybody, found out where we were, didn't ask me, dropped this thing. He opened, nobody was in the room, leaves this organ donor ice chest, and then just ran away. I had no idea who this was from, but I was so hungry, I go, I'm eating it anyway, dude. I mean, if you want to poison me with Otto's Bentos, that's the way to do it, man. Get me every time. I did, however, lift up one, and I found a Post-it that said Ito. So I went, oh, it was Stuart. So I'm thanking him profusely. I'm thanking him. And for anybody that knows Stuart, like I know I'm embarrassing him now, but for anybody that knows Stuart, he's always like, that's no big deal, man. It's no big deal. It's nothing. But I got to tell you, Stuart, I mean, having that ice chest there, it may not seem like much, but you know, they give you Jell-O, they give you stuff and this and that, and the ability for me to be able to have something to store it in, because she might not be hungry right now, and then I have flexibility, I have options, I have control. You don't know, I mean, I'm getting emotional. I don't mean to get emotional, but you don't know what that meant for me, Stuart. Like having just the option and having a little tiny bit of control in an uncontrollable situation meant the world to me. And again, for anybody that knows Stuart, Stuart does nothing halfway. So at first it was the organ donor ice chest. He goes, oh, that ice chest is dirty. I didn't even clean it. It's just an old one. I just found it. So of course this guy goes on Amazon and buys the Igloo plug-in freaking refrigerator cooler. And Michael was there, and Michael made the swap. He's like, I can give you fresh ice every day. And then, of course, within 2 days, I have this brand new Igloo plug-in. And now I'm set, guys. Like now I got all kinds of other food. I got Jell-O in there. I got pudding. Janet loved the chocolate pudding. I said, give me an extra pudding. I got a place to keep it, you know. It's kind of contraband, right? You're not even supposed to have plug-in stuff like that. But it looked just like an Igloo, so it was great. But again, I mean, I've told this to you before, Stuart, but you don't know what that meant to me. Just having that there, it was, I don't know, it meant so much to have something that I could control, something that I could organize and plan for and count on and know what was going to be there. We had wonderful visitors come. See if you can read the sign. Do you get it? Take a moment. So, I got to tell you, just little things like this, right? You know, they went out of their way and they wanted to visit us, but they didn't, you know, we were kind of precarious for that first couple days. So they waited a couple days. And they made these signs, and I hung them up in our room. And it was just, it's these kinds of things that, you know, mean the world. You know, it just means so much. And it's clever above all else, so it's great. But these are the things that people will do, and we talked about this before too, when people are in a rough situation, you don't even know what to do. Because you're worried about bothering them, you're worried about their privacy, you're worried about so many things, and I get it. And they didn't even come in the room, they just dropped stuff off. I'm on the 5th floor of the South Tower. After day 2, I said, I'm not gonna take the elevator anymore, right? Because I need to get my steps in, man. So I'd be up and down those stairs tons of times, day after day. Oh my gosh, okay, sorry, I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay, so they get that going. Okay, so we get the ice chest. Here we are. Day 5, 133,000 platelet count. Day 5. Day 6, 175. If you pass 150, you can go home. And I said, oh my God, we did it. We did it. And the doctor said, hey, just to be sure, let's wait one more day. Let's just wait one more day. We're going to stop the plasmapheresis for tonight, and we'll check back tomorrow morning, see how you're doing, right? And so it's crazy because day 7 was my birthday. So I'm there at the Kaiser having my birthday, which is fine. I only had one wish, right? And so it went from 175 to 150,000 that day. So not good. Not good. That's not the direction I want to go. But I said, you know, I'm not worried yet because we stopped the plasmapheresis. So I go, I ain't tripping yet. Now, you know. So I said, okay, let's get back on this plasmapheresis, and let's go on a potentially 3rd regimen, an additional treatment plan in addition to these pheresis and the high-dose steroid and all that. We're going to do one more thing, all right, and it's another special drug. So they started to even order that drug that wasn't going to be here for a couple days. But I wasn't worried at this time. I said, we're okay. Because this treatment with the steroid and with the plasmapheresis and all that, that works for 75% of TTP patients that are diagnosed. Not us. Again, we're the 25% out of the, right? We're the 1 out of 4 winning the lotto again, you know, in the worst way. So the next day, you know, and this was hard because I'm writing in the thing, and I'm skipping ahead now to several days, but I'm logging on to kp.org, right? So they take blood in the morning, they take it to the lab, and I log on to janetskp.org, and I look at the blood results. And the next day after my birthday, I looked at it, and it went down to 30,000. And I couldn't even tell Janet. She's feeling better by now. The colors come back in her face. She gained her appetite back. She looks like she's totally getting better on the outside. So I'm not understanding what's happening. Like, you know what I mean? You can't understand. She's got an appetite. She wants to walk around the halls. She has this will to get better like I've never seen. I'm going to eat. Janet's pescatarian, you know, only eats fish. But she's like, no, I'll eat the chicken. Whatever you give me, I'll eat. And I said, good, you eat that, right? So she was eating everything that they gave her. She had a great appetite. She was doing great. So when I see this number, my heart sinks, and I can't even type it in the blog. and I eventually do it. And then, people are texting me like, they can't even respond to me because they're watching me go on this rise, and we're getting out of here. And then it went this completely flipped, and emotionally, oh man, it was a huge blowout. So I said, okay, don't worry, we have this new drug coming. It's the Cablevy shot. We have this new drug coming that's going to add to what we're doing. It's going to turn a corner. And then the next day, that was the one, man. The next day, it went down to 17,000. And I couldn't even tell her. I just went, oh yeah, it went down a little bit today, Janet. It went down, but you'll be okay. It just went down a little bit. And I go, let me get my walk in for the day. I had to get out of the room. I couldn't even stay in there. So I ran down the stairs, and I had to book it around the hospital. It was just, we've all had devastating moments in our life. Of course we have. We've all had tragedy and disappointment. I've gone through tremendous business struggles even too, financially, where I stopped making mortgage payments on my house for a long time. I mean, it was bad. But none of that held a candle to that number. That number, I am a pretty positive, upbeat dude, you know what I mean? I can weather quite a bit. But that one took me out. I'm not gonna lie. That one took me out. And I know everybody reading that blog, they didn't know what to do. So that was the day that it hit the lowest point, but that was also the day that new medication come in. It's going to be delivered subcutaneously, so it's going to be delivered in the form of a shot right about in her belly area. So boom, that came in the afternoon. We did one, we did a plasmapheresis, and then we did a second one. Okay, that was the procedure for the initial. And I said, okay, man, let's this is all we got, right? You're the 1 in the 4 that it doesn't work, that regular treatment plan didn't work for. So you're winning the major hospital lottery here. So let's see if this one goes. So boom, they did a special blood check that evening. We made it to 28,000. We made it to 28,000. And I'll tell you, if any of you here have a platelet count of 28,000, you're in deep trouble. You know what I mean? Like right now, right? But her 28,000 was it was the greatest 28,000 I've ever seen in my life. It's my new favorite number, I tell you. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. It turned a corner, and I just didn't know. And again, we're terrified because we've already done this once. We've already been there once, so you can't even be happy. So again, you wait and you let it unfold, because there is nothing else you can do. You are, again, powerless. Your trust is in this medical facility. Your trust is in the human knowledge that has been accumulated. Your trust is in this organization that deals with only 5 TTP cases a year, but thank goodness they had those 5. That's what I kept saying. Thank God it wasn't 0. I had faith. I go, at least you have those 5. At least you've dealt with this. At least you know what to do. And so I put myself in your hands. So I was able to finally tell Janet, hey, we turned the corner, it's going back in the right direction. And again, you got to remember, she's still really not knowing the severity of her situation all this time, which is a good thing, because she just focused on, hey, I want to eat, I want to get better, I want to walk the hallway. So she doesn't really realize how severe it was. And here we are on day 10. By this time, as I mentioned to you, right, I'm going up and down the stairs, and at night, I spend the night there, so I'm walking the halls at night. By this time, I'm pretty much the hospital, liaison, right? So when I walk the hallways, I see people, and I know they're lost, and I go, excuse me, sir, what are you looking for? They're like, North Tower. North Tower will be right down this way, right here. You can take those 4 elevators. What room are you? 3, just push the 3rd floor, you can go right up there. Matter of fact, I'm going that way, follow me right here, we'll go. So I was helping people, and it really helped pass the time. And it really helped me pass the time. Snack bar. Snack bar is a really tough one to find, guys. You'd never know. It's actually down a floor in the basement, So it was great. I was helping people doing that. I really got to know the hospital. Prior to that point, the hospital was this foreign place. And again, I don't want to share a personal story, but another friend that's here this evening, they ended up in the hospital during our stay there. And I was able to meet with her, and I was able to tell her which parking lot her car was in, because I know all the lots and I know everything. But I was grateful that I was able to be there for her, because she was there in a very difficult time, and he also suffered from a low platelet count. So as they're reading my blog, this is what the sharing did. It gave them not a familiarity, but you know what I mean? They weren't in such uncharted foreign territory, and I was able to be there in a very small, tiny way, but I was able to be there in that very difficult time when you're alone at the hospital. Not knowing is the worst part. Not knowing is what's going on. If you break a leg, you know you got to put a cast on it. It's going to reheal. You got 12 weeks and you're going to be out. You know it. You can deal with that. When you don't know what you're dealing with and you don't know what's going to happen and you don't know how it's going to work, that's the hardest part. And that's what was so hard about the pandemic, right? We just not knowing. Are you supposed to wear a mask? Are you not supposed to wear a mask? Are you really going to die? Are you not going to die? Does it matter if I have a barbecue in my backyard? It's the not knowing. And that brought back that same lesson. So here we are. We're on the road to recovery. I'm hospital liaison now, right? I'm doing all these other jobs. And day 11, our evening result, 97,000. Day 11, 167. 167,000. Day 12, 199. Can you have too many platelets? You know, I'm worried. The next day went 293. And I went, oh my God. So now, and what made me really happy was we had our lead physician, Dr. Naik, and he would come in and man, I'm really grateful for him. Not only did the entire staff keep telling me, oh, you have Dr. Naik? You're so lucky, man. If I needed a doctor, I would want him to be my doctor. That gave me tremendous confidence. And he said to me, we're not out of the woods yet. You're looking good. You're looking good. But we're not out of the woods yet. And he goes, ever since the last time we got traumatized with those results, like a doctor said this to me, right? And he goes, I want to be careful, err on the side of caution. And I was like, I was so thankful and grateful. What a difference from nick the carotid artery to this, right? He said we were traumatized. He felt the trauma that I felt. And I was like, man, I just want to hug this dude. I'm like, thank you for being here with me. And thank you for being cautious and careful and keeping her an extra day and not rushing us out. Thank you for giving us the highest quality of care. I was in awe. I was humbled. And here we were. So we were getting solid, and we were able to finally be discharged. You know, we're able to finally be discharged. And we come home, and you got to remember, Janet's feeling good at this point. She doesn't know about the internals and the data. She's feeling good. We get home, we sit on the couch. She sits in her spot, I sit in my spot. We turn on Netflix, and as I'm watching Netflix, I'm like, yeah, it's like we never went to the hospital. Do you know what I'm saying? You go back into this routine of familiarity, because it was like evening, 7, 8 p.m., that's what we do at 7, 8 p.m. And it felt like nothing happened. But that's also a part of your trauma response, right? It compartmentalizes the ordeal that you went through. And the moment you get back into a familiar space, it just erases all of it. This is why I'm convinced women can have more than one child. I mean, I watch you do it the first time. I'm like, who would do that again? Oh my God. But you have that mechanism that helps you forget, right? I mean, clearly, why would you do that again? Anyway, okay. But this is what I realized. So a part of this message today too is that trauma. Even though you get through that ordeal, and yes, there's a lot we got to do for follow-up and all that, but we're doing good now. We're going to make it. But you still are holding on to that trauma. And I didn't even realize this about a week after I left the hospital. Both of my shoulders I had pain, like, you know, I couldn't lift them over my head and this and that. I go, it wasn't from the hospital. I didn't sleep funny, and I didn't realize that's my body holding in all that trauma, and it's releasing now. I didn't really realize that. I was in tremendous pain, and that's how much I held in at the time. But anyway, the final lesson I took away from this is all this. No matter how independent you think you are, or again, how smart, how capable, it's always better to face your dukkha, to face your suffering with your family, with your friends, with your sangha, with your community, rather than face it alone. This is why we have a sangha, and this is what we're talking about. This is why a sangha is one of the 3 treasures of Buddhism, right? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Don't belittle that jewel, that treasure, because for me, it is by far one of the most fundamentally important ones. And if you can open up to receive help, that's good for everyone, not just good for you. It's good for them. They want to help you. They want to be there for you. They don't know how. And if you don't tell them, they don't know how. Unless they deliver an organ transplant ice chest in your room when you're in the hallway. But they don't know how. So that's a part of it. We in this room we're great at giving compassion. We're great at that. We're great at showing concern. We're not good at accepting compassion. We're not good at accepting help. We're great at giving help. Let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. As soon as someone says, let me help you with that, you go, no, I got it. I'm cool. I got it, right? So that's an interesting thing that we do. And we do it to ourselves. So I want us to encourage us to not do that. Let's open up. And the only reason I'm sharing this story with you today is because, again, the circumstances are different, but everybody here is dealing with or has dealt with, is currently dealing with tremendous things in their lives. And I think it helps all of us if we can share, because it'll make everybody understand that they're not alone in this pursuit. So again, I just want to thank you all for being here this evening to hear my story. And I just want you to all remember that one of the most important practices that we do, because we don't do a lot of practice here, right? But the practice that we do is being a part of the Sangha. And so, Sandy, let me see. I've lost track of my slides, but let's see. Remember when I talked about winning the lottery? This is not fake. Take a look. This is not fake. But she was part of an office pool, so we had to divide it 68 ways. But still, remember how I said, wow, we won the lottery. I'd rather win the lottery. In December, our friend comes up to us and he goes, can I come over? He knows we're recovering, right? Janet's like, not seeing people. She's got her mask on, all that. He goes, I got to come over. I go, well, you know the situation, so it's got to be important. He comes over, he goes, and he shows me the iPad with freaking $1.9 million. Granted, Janet only invested $8 in the pool, so, still, okay? But what I'm saying is, this is not the part of the Buddhist message, okay? So, that's not what karma is. If you do good things happen. I guess it's just a funny way to end the story, okay? It's just a funny way to end the story. So, isn't that crazy? Okay, so it's crazy. So anyway, having said that, after this happened, in the beginning of this year, a good friend of mine reached out to me. His name is Paul Goodman. Some of you may remember him because he featured his film here, No Girl. Paul's a filmmaker, young man in Southern California. He was a filmmaker, and he's a 3-time cancer survivor. And just an incredible young man. I just love this dude, man. He's inspirational. He asked me to be a part of his Blood Cancer United campaign. He got this 3rd surgery. Everything went well. He's in remission again. And he says, I want to put together a team. I want to raise $100,000 for Blood Cancer United, because they were so instrumental in helping him with his cure. And as I Googled the company, I realized that Blood Cancer United was fundamentally important in developing rituximab, which was a vital part of Janet's treatment plan. And I couldn't believe how, again, connected everything was. I already agreed to help Paul because I love that man. And then as I started the campaign and I did the research and I go, oh my gosh, this directly relates to us. And so I became a team member, and I don't know if you have that final slide, but so I'm part of Paul's team right now. We're trying to raise $100,000 within all. He's got like 15 people all throughout and I'm one of his main visionaries, they call it. So again, we can email this link to you guys. I just couldn't believe that this same organization that I was helping Paul with was the one that helped us. And I just couldn't believe how everything came together so full circle. And I was just moved beyond words. And so I'm doing pretty well. It's not a contest, but I want to win. Okay, so, but anyway, so yeah, we'll leave this slide up. And again, I wanted to thank all of you. I apologize for how long this was. I hope I didn't, bore you too much, but I really want to thank you all. For us to gather together like this today, for you to even have the willingness to come out today means more to me than you'll ever know. It means so much to me that you were willing to take your time out and come just to hear a story and just come here to be together. And I truly, deeply value each and every one of you. And thank you all for staying with me on this journey. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.